we've got in-studio guest Brett Glass coming to the chair and doing the City of Laramie City Council preview. And we are live this morning on Facebook. Should you choose to join us, you can share it with your friends. And we want to make sure on behalf of Studio City at 2433 East Grand Avenue in Laramie, it's kids time. 10 movies. And it all starts today, the 2025 Summer Movie Series. And today, they will have one at the Studio City complex, followed by Sonic 3, Dogman, and Despicable Me 4, The Wild Robot, Migration, Kung Fu Panda 4, and Harold and the Purple Crayon. That's all at Studio City, 2433 Grand Avenue in Laramie. You want to find out more details, give them a shout, 307-223-5252. And also email laramie@yomovies.com. Happy to share that information in the public interest. Brought to you by Windmill Hill Greenhouse. Windmill Hill Greenhouse, 4109 Fort Sanders Road. Benny Benson, we thank you for your support of the Talk Shop. With your perennials, trees and shrubs, and products like annuals and houseplants, make your way, perhaps, and say hi to Benny. Tell him the Talk Shop sent you from 93.5 FM, Laramie, Wyoming. This Friday, a lot of people excited. More than 300 dozen enchiladas for a cause sold by the Epson Center for Seniors. We can't we can't thank you enough for joining us, supporting the cause, helping the Epson Center provide enrichment, activities, and meals to seniors in Albany County. Pickup Day is Saturday, June 14th. That's this week, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 1560 North 3rd Street. If you need to make any special arrangements, 307-745-5116 for your opportunity to do that. And we're looking forward to all three recipes. Ordered 1 dozen of each of those for the Talk Shop, and our tastes have never been disappointed. Brett, good morning.
Good morning, Eric. It's good to be here. Just got back from a wonderful concert down in Denver, which ran late, by the founder of Camper Van Beethoven, the sort of niche alternative music group. And I'm back in Laramie and reviewing what the City Council is going to be doing this week on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that in the 6 o'clock hour. Anything that you've made comment perhaps on this week going into that, or will you be in attendance?
Well, I will certainly be watching. It is a work session rather than an actual meeting where the council makes final decisions. So it mainly consists of a presentation by the staff to the city council. And if I had to choose a title for this week's presentation, it would probably be Trouble in River City.
Why is that?
Well, because I don't know how many people out there are familiar with the musical The Music Man, in which a shyster who calls himself Professor Harold Hill comes to a small town and convinces people there that there is a great evil, a great vice known as pool playing that's going to do terrible things to their youth. And so instead they have to pick up musical instruments. Well, we have sort of a similar situation this Tuesday night at City Council, where the staff is going to be making a presentation to Council, claiming that gaming, off-track betting, and slot machines are a terrible threat to the morals of Laramie, and therefore they must be regulated and restricted. Now, the state of Wyoming already regulates gaming and makes sure that these establishments are honest, and there doesn't seem to be a huge number of people who do this sort of thing in Laramie, but we do have 3 facilities in town. One of them just recently licensed by the state, where you can do this sort of gambling, betting on horses or slot machines. One of them is the old Sherry's restaurant at the Gateway Plaza, right on 3rd Street. Another one is called the Derby Club, which is opening where Copper's Corner used to be, on 3rd Street, just a little bit north of where the new viaduct is. And the third one is the old Travelodge sushi boat down at the very south end of town. And essentially what's happened is that one of the council members has asked the city to review regulating gaming and where it should be allowed. And so suddenly there's a presentation. It's not very long, but you can find it online, in which the city staff recommends imposing regulations relating to where these establishments can be, and how close they can be to things like schools, places of worship, parks, daycares, things like that. And the recommended regulations, interestingly, would outlaw having any of these facilities in any one of the places where they already exist. Currently, they can exist in business districts, but in the future, they would only be able to exist in areas that are zoned heavy industrial and heavy commercial. So all of these places would be what they call non-conforming uses. That doesn't mean that they would be forced to shut down immediately, but they would technically be operating on the edge of legality. They'd only be grandfathered. If they'd made a modification to the building, if they did anything to change what they did or physically change anything about the building, you pull a building permit, you add a new wing to your building, things like that.
They could be closed down.
They could be shut down. And well, since we don't have a huge problem with gaming being a serious vice in Laramie, there's some question about whether we really want to do this. It goes back to the old Ronald Reagan quote: "If it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, then regulate it." And then if it, he also went on to say, well, if it shuts down, then subsidize it, although I don't know if the city would actually subsidize gambling. But the question is whether this is really needed, or if this is merely yet another attempt to expand the scope of the power of the city staff and city government.
It's just my opinion, Brett, but in 2025, I have been most concerned about city council and their apparent interest in regulating advertising rates for Lamar Advertising in billboards business, wanting to somehow impose their pricing structure on and expectations on Lamar Advertising. And perhaps others, any potential others. Currently, since 2009, City Council have held that there's no future in billboards in our community. There won't be billboards beyond those that are grandfathered since 2009. And in this respect, it seems like gambling in the bullseye crosshairs of our city council and another business entity. Make note, nearly every one of these city council members have supported business, pro-business. Yet, in my perspective, this is most concerning.
Yes, this is a real concern. A few years ago, the city council moved to regulate wireless facilities, and did so in a way that's actually hurting cell phone coverage in some parts of town. Other regulations seem to be piling up in other ways, and this is sort of, Elon Musk did not do a good job of coming in and trying to regulate bureaucracy on the federal level. He waved a chainsaw around and cut indiscriminately, good people who had just gotten raises because they were on so-called probationary status. But on the other,
some things can happen too fast.
Yes, but on the other hand, we really do need to watch for government that is growing just for the sake of growing its sphere of influence, growing its power. not necessarily doing things that are needed or that are good for local business. If we regulate gaming in town, people aren't going to stop gambling. What they're going to do is they're going to start gambling online more, and local businesses are going to lose the advantages of being able to have some gambling going on. I'm thinking in particular of the gaming parlor down near the highway at the sushi boat restaurant. Will the restaurant be a viable business without the gaming parlor there? So there is some concern about overregulation, and I myself am a little leery of this. I think that the public should watch the presentation, and if they think that this reflects a trend toward too much regulation of local business, they should chime in.
Heon, I'm going to bring Brett Glass to share lunch or dinner with you at the sushi boat. I am here to test that I love your edamame. And that's just a local perspective. But Brett, you bring up a great point, and I'm glad you preview this city council meeting agenda item in the work session tomorrow night. What other agenda items are ahead on the work session?
There is just going to be an agenda review, so we don't know at this point what they're going to be scheduling for the next meeting of City Council, the next official meeting where they make decisions. But we're going to find out when they do the City Council updates and the agenda review on Tuesday evening. So we don't know for sure. We're going to see.
Had a pleasurable encounter with many that made the Ivinson Memorial Hospital emergency wing dedication to the Smith family in the Laramie community, and also the Etcheper family for the meeting, actually the waiting room of that facility. What an asset. What an absolute asset. Sharon Cumby, Mayor, and Councilman Newman, both in attendance along with Senator Crum, and had an opportunity to get comments from them. You can check those out in their entirety at the Talk Shop on social media, X, Rumble, and Facebook right now. Brett, you are on top of the agenda this week. Do you have any real insights with respect to maybe other issues going on in the state? What is your purview, opinions on what's happening in Wyoming overall?
Well, we're going to see when the City Council this summer hosts the meeting of the Wyoming Association of Municipalities, which is going to discuss in depth what developments on the state level are going to do to our cities. But what's coming up in the legislature is more tax cutting on the state level. And of course, next year there's going to be a referendum on the ballot, which could cut our property taxes by half. And if it does, well, that's going to affect the county and the city budgets. So looking ahead, that's probably the big issue. Not much is going to happen at this meeting or at the next city council meeting, but it is something for the public to keep an eye on.
This week in Casey, Wyoming, the final edition of Ledoux Days, dedication to Chris Ledoux in Casey, Wyoming. Ned Ledoux will be performing along with other artists, and if you're interested in that, check out Google Casey, Wyoming. That's Kaycee, Wyoming. And you're with the Talk Shop this morning, and we will highlight upcoming the opportunity to visit with University of Wyoming Residence Life Program as we ask some questions, find out about their living and learning centers, the benefits of living in the residence halls, and also perhaps what's ahead for Downey Hall, White Hall, McIntyre, Hill and Crane, along with Orr Hall, built in the 1960s, roughly. What is life on campus ahead with the North and South Hall opening beginning this fall? Fantastic structure if you haven't seen it. It's where the Weil Hall footprint used to be. It used to house Army and Air Force and all of the military branches in collegiate education program at the University of Wyoming. You can see it far and wide. It's a big structure, and it's beautifully cased in the sandstone that is famous around the campus of the University of Wyoming, and generally all spaces that go to the center of campus are lined with those limestone, sandstone, beautiful architectural assets, and we'll look forward to those conversations with Zaft and Schramm from the University of Wyoming. Brett, any other comments as we close another segment of the City Council Preview?
Well, I think that's about all for this week. I think it's some of the we're coming up to the solstice and things are warming up, and I'm hoping that we have a mild mosquito season this year. The city is already planning the spray in and around Laramie. So I guess that's all for this week. I hope everyone has a great week.
This Talk Shop segment also brought to you by the Never Summer Rodeo, the North Park Never Summer Rodeo, June 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Check out your entire schedule for the North Park Never Summer Rodeo at North Park Never Summer Rodeo on Google.